We're going to test it and see how it does.
Testing.
Well, you can't talk like that. You gotta project.
Testing.
You're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, I'm Francine.
And I'm Carrie.
We're two best friends who can't stop talking, usually about Disney stuff.
Sometimes we have fascinating guests, and sometimes it's just us. But it's always positive and fun.
We're happy to have you join our chat. Thanks for listening, and let's get started.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
Well, welcome to Orlando.
I was going to say, where are we?
Where are we? We told everyone that we were going to do this. We were going to record snippets and tidbits from our adventures in Orlando.
Yeah.
At Destination D.
And right now we're in Saratoga Springs in Made a Little Studio. The doors are closed. We're crouched beside the bed near the window. We don't know why. Just in case that helps. The sound.
But here we are.
We're here.
We're recording.
Yep.
And welcome to Orlando.
Why, thank you.
So we did
We're
have, so I did post something that you were in Disneyland, and then I got some questions from a few people, like, how come Carrie never told us she was going to Disneyland?
I kept it on the down, though, because I didn't want to jinx it. I was afraid I was going to jinx it.
Carrie gets so paranoid about these things that she doesn't want to jinx it, so she doesn't tell anybody.
Well, I usually don't want to jinx it, but considering you have to test negative with a COVID test before you go, that's a good thing you don't want to jinx.
Yeah,
for sure. So I didn't tell anybody.
Right. So you went. You did the Motherland for 10 days. I guess
not that many.
It was pretty close. Come on, and you did, and you worked from Disneyland. You figured out how to do it, and we are going to do a whole episode on your trip to Disneyland.
I don't know
next
why.
week. Well, because I think it's important. People want to know. They've been listening to you go on and on and on about Disneyland.
Yeah, I did it.
It's important to tell them what it was like for you to go back home.
Okay, if you insist.
Right? So next week's podcast is all about Carrie's Disneyland adventure.
Right.
But this week we are talking, because we're recording all the snippets from Destination D.
Yes.
Do they call it Destination D?
It's called Destination D23, but I think it used to be called Destination D.
I thought it was too, but it sounds, so now they've got the 23 on it. So
it's a fantastic Disney celebration.
You're reading the flyer now, aren't you?
Fantastic. Because it's a fan club.
Right. So this is from the D23 fan club, and they do this exhibition type. I don't even know what to call it. It's a weekend event.
It's an event. It's every 2 years, the Destination D23, and then the D23 Expo is the opposite years,
right.
Usually.
And that's usually in Disneyland.
Yes, yeah.
Right, so this one is in Walt Disney World, so you flew from Disneyland to Walt Disney World to meet us here for this event. And so we're recording this little snippet on Friday night. Mm-hmm. Today was the first day basically of the event. Yep. So we pick up our credentials.
Yep.
That's what we do. So first thing in the morning we pick up our credentials.
We went for breakfast first thing in the morning.
We went for breakfast if we want to be specific.
If you want to be specific.
And Carrie, where did we go for breakfast? Did we try someplace new and exciting? What did we do?
Oh dear. We went to Steakhouse 71, which means it's pretty much the fourth time we've ate there.
In a month.
In a month, in 30 days. And we're gonna eat there again because we make a reservation at Steakhouse 71, then we can park at the Contemporary
for the event
instead of having to park at the Ticket and Transportation Center and doing all that rigmarole.
And it's good food.
Yeah,
and we get to hang with our friends and get caught up before the day starts.
Yes. So, we went for breakfast.
Yes.
And then we did our registration and got our credentials, got our gift bag, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we had shopping at Mickey's of Glendale we picked up our pins because we had RSP for special Walt Disney Imagineering pins. And then,
so the RSP, what is that?
That's where there's a catalog, I guess, of Walt Disney Imagineering pins, and we could request which ones we wanted, and then we were randomly selected certain pins that we got to get.
So you could end up with 2 pins or 20 pins depending on what you got randomly selected.
Correct.
In what you submitted, and we pretty much got everything we wanted.
Yeah, we did not too bad.
We did not too bad. So you have to go pick those up, and like they go through the bag with you, like one at a time. Here's this pin. Sign and
make sure that you have everything.
Yeah,
because Walt Disney Imagineering pins are beautiful pins. They're very rare pins. They're usually limited edition, like 200 or 250. And they're very sought after. So we make sure we've got everything on our order, and so we did that, and then we went to do our shopping at the Mickey's of Glendale store. So we had a 10 a.m. appointment to do our shopping.
So you have to make an appointment. So that's the fun part. So you make a reservation to do your shopping, and then you get in the line. The line wasn't bad.
Well, that's
because
new
we were like 5 minutes early.
And this is new for this. This is new. The reservation for shopping. So usually there's events years past. We do a lot of waiting. We do a lot of sitting on floors. We do a lot of lines, waiting our turn to buy pins, waiting our turn to shop. So in the past, you used to have to wait in line for those pins that we got in our RSP. So now we have the RSP, and then this year we could select a time for shopping. So instead of getting there early because you want to be the first ones in and get the pick of the litter, we had windows. They allowed us to pick a window. So
right, and it did look like, from what I heard, they were replenishing the merchandise as well. So for people that got later windows or whatever, they still got the opportunity.
And I would
to shop.
think that there would be lots of stuff to last the first day.
Oh yeah.
And
the shop is open all weekend for us.
Yeah.
Now, was there anything special inside the store?
Yeah, there was all kinds of Muppet stuff.
I know. Weren't you excited?
I was excited because I didn't know it was going to be there till a couple minutes before when my friend told me that there was going to be in there.
Yeah.
And there was lots of Walt Disney Imagineering stuff, which was awesome, and lots of Muppet stuff, and lots of Destination D attire that was like that was themed with Orange Bird and that nice, 50th blue.
It was really good stuff, but the sizing was like cuckoo. I bought the same size in 3 shirts and a jacket, and one was too big and one was way too small. Like way too small. When I first tried it on, I thought, was this kids that I picked up? But it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because our friend Susan had the same issue with her shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the stuff that's the Walt Disney Imagineering it's probably the stuff that's a small size.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty, so I got
And then the themed stuff, like I think the Destination D stuff and the Muppet stuff was maybe more normal sizing.
More normal.
The Muppet stuff, like they had a nice Kermit hoodie that was cream, which I couldn't buy because it was cream. Like, I'm gonna spill something on it or whatever.
I know, but it was I can't believe you
We'll see what's left tomorrow. And then they had these pullover sweatshirts that were black, and they're just gonna get covered in cat fur. So I just got a couple of shirts and a couple of.
Did you buy you know what? I didn't even ask you. Did you buy the Haunted Mansion one?
No, I didn't. I might buy it tomorrow. I probably should, just for the sake.
It has Pepe and Gonzo and the Haunted Mansion. Like, come on!
I'll buy one tomorrow.
Come on!
Maybe.
How could you not?
So we shopped.
We did some good damage.
We shall not we know what everybody in our group, because there was 8 of us.
Yeah.
Today we kind of did tally up what we all spent, and it was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think I was the winner.
You won. You were the winner. Chicken dinner for sure.
Well, I don't know if it's the winner when you spend too much money.
But yeah, you did spend the most.
I did. But that was because I bought that little bomber, what do they call that? It's like a
puffy jacket.
It's like a puffy jacket. It's a puffy jacket.
You bought a puffy jacket.
So that was expensive.
I think that took you. I think put you above everybody else for sure. Yeah. And there was all kinds of Imagineering stuff that they had discounted. So they had they have the lanyards that you can buy that are only Walt Disney Imagineering, and they were buy one, get 50% off. They had all the pens.
I didn't see a lanyard. Where were the lanyards?
I'll show you the ones I bought. They're just they were on the opposite side of where the pens were.
I spent all that time in that store, and there were things that I didn't see.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. When I went in the store, I walked in and went right to the Muppets, and everybody had shopped and picked everything, and I was still in the Muppet area, and I hadn't looked at anything.
Yeah. But that was, I knew where to find you in the store.
Yeah.
Carrie Carrie was in the Muppets.
But anyways, they had pens that are like 10 for $10. They had some stuff. They had hats for $10. So it's like they had some old stuff they were getting rid of. But like it may be old for the Imagineers and the people that that work there and get to buy it. But for us, we're like, woohoo, start the car. So $10 caps and a lot of neat stuff like that. So anyways, we shopped.
And then, because this is sort of day one where you're just getting in and getting settled. So there was nothing in the ballroom. We didn't go into the ballroom. There were no presentations.
No.
But we had our afternoon appointment you had to make a reservation for that. And we got to screen Encanto.
Yes, that's cool.
So that was kind of cool. We got to the theater. So it was the theater at Disney Springs. And we had to seal our phones and our smartwatches. Like, I didn't even think about my watch, but you had to put your watch in a bag and seal it and put it away. And they had security in the theater watching to make sure that nobody's phones came out. So that was kind of cool. That, and it's a shame they have to do that, but piracy is a big issue, so they do that.
So that was really cool.
We don't want to spoil.
They told us not to, even though we were not, like, this episode will be after the movie's probably at the beginning,
but we wouldn't spoil it.
We're not going to spoil it.
No.
Anyway. So
all we would say, like, what did you think?
I really liked it a lot.
You loved it.
Yeah.
You loved it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? I laughed. I did cry. I liked it. I really liked it. I know, like, my friends were all like, oh my God, did you love it? I liked it. But it's a musical, and we all know how I feel about musicals.
Disney, like, what Disney does that. They sing songs.
Just stick a song everywhere.
They sing songs in most of them.
Yeah. So some of them were it was a lot of songs. Mm-hmm. So, but I did like it. Like, there were laugh out loud moments that totally caught me off guard. It was a good laugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was really good. I think generally for the day, like, compared to the other years, like, it seemed very well organized. Like, when we went in the morning, like, we went a lot of people were lined up early. Like, when we went for breakfast, there was probably 100 people in the contemporary lobby.
Why were they lined up so early?
But people are just excited, right? Like, they just want to get their pins that they bought and they want to get their stuff. Like, that's just kind of what we do, like, at these events. Like, I don't know why, but why not? You're here, you're excited, you've been looking forward to it. So, but when we got out of breakfast, that line had subsided, and we went into the convention center, and the lines to register, the lines to get the pins, we had to go into one room to pick up our swag bag. Like, that was all quick and easy and seamless. Like, there was no hiccups or anything. Mm-hmm. And then even when we went to the movie, like, they had us kind of walk like a little bit of a maze, but like everything made sense, right? Like they scanned our tickets, and we walked to just one area just to get our wristbands and to get some little booklet they were giving us, and then we pretty much walked right back out. But like, it made sense, like, because it broke up everybody so that there wasn't crowds or whatever, and we just kind of followed that path and then walked back out and walked into the movie theater to see our movie. So it was really well organized, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed with that. So far, so good.
So far, so good. Knock wood. Let's hope tomorrow and Sunday are the same.
And it seems to me, like, just the first glance of in the convention center, like, it seems that they've already plussed it up a little bit. Like, I don't know. It just seems already a little different.
Well, I
like
hope
more
so.
Displays, and I think by the looks of it, we saw little rooms where they had little interactive things. So it looks like there's a bit more for us than there's been in the past. And
we got some good photo ops. We took some good pictures. Mm-hmm. Oh, and, you guys know we've had her on the podcast before, Elantrice, so Diz Through Brown Eyes on Instagram and Facebook. We finally got to meet her in person today at the event, so that was pretty cool. Only for a couple seconds.
So hopefully we'll catch up with her.
She was like on a press tour.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we did get to say hi to her, so that was kind of fun.
Very cool
to get to meet her in person. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've got a lot going on the rest of the weekend.
Yeah,
Carrie.
we got a busy schedule, 2 packed days of sessions.
Like Saturday and Sunday they go 9 till 5 with a break for lunch, and then 7 till 9, right?
Yeah.
At night for the nighttime ones.
Yeah.
Both Saturday and Sunday.
And it looks like the schedule has a lot, like, I think in the past we spent hours at a time in a session.
In a block in a session.
So it seems like they've broken it up to a bunch of smaller things, which, maybe makes it more more like a convention, like with a bunch of little snippets instead of sitting in like an hour or an hour and a half or a 45-minute thing after another.
Well, yeah, because we don't even know like who the speakers are.
We really know nothing.
We really know nothing.
Well, so and partially because it's not that they maybe haven't told us this, but we just don't really pay them. We paid our money and everything.
We paid like $200 for these tickets.
I think we paid $250 plus service fees. If we wanna,
it was a long time ago, so I'm going to choose not to think about it.
But we really don't pay.
That, Carrie, we spent $250 on the ticket so that I could come here and spend $250 in the Mickey's of Glendale store on the first day.
Yeah. Plus the pins, plus the whatever, plus the plus. So hopefully they'll give us...
Disney, take my money.
Hopefully they'll give us some fun little gifts and stuff throughout the...
I hope so. Now, are we going to talk at all about the whole Bob Chapek thing? Like,
no.
Like, we're not even going to care, right?
No. Let's see what this weekend holds.
I'm okay.
Let's see if Juan Stamos is there in his place.
What? Like, we were talking about it. Like, wouldn't it be fun if like they had some pretty big like Juan Stamos, because he's been sighted all over the property.
He was at Draw to Life at the first Cirque show the other night. He opened it up, I think.
But like they're doing a new Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, I think.
So what if
don't hold your breath there?
What if he was here?
I'm not very good at resuscitating because you're not breathing because you're holding your breath, not because you fainted. Because
can you imagine?
Because
that would be awesome.
Idol is here, your boyfriend to be one day.
My boyfriend to be one day.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that generally. I don't know that they would have any big stars. But you never know. Maybe this smaller snippet thing means some different people will pop in.
Yeah,
who knows?
Who knows? But you know what? It's always fun. Like it's going to be so much about the 50th and the history, and that's the stuff that we love. So we're going to do some little snippets over the weekend. If we get a chance, we'll do them like right live on set.
Oh, good grief.
If not, it'll be back in the room. But it'd be fun if we could do them right there, right? Like right after one of the... Anyway.
Sure.
We'll see what we can do. But we hope this episode... Because you know what, Carrie? If it doesn't turn out okay, we're just going to be recording on the plane before we get home. The whole episode, but
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed,
and it's fun.
All right, we'll see in the next segment.
Bye.
So, Carrie, it's the start of day 2. Where are we for breakfast right now?
Steakhouse 71.
What number is this? Meal number. She's counting on her fingers. 5. Meal number 5 at Steakhouse 71 in the last month. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
I had fruit. Hey, Fran, we're back, and I need to ask you, what's the best thing that's happened so far this day or this year, or maybe in the last 10 years?
Oh my God! So we're like halfway through day 1 at Destination D. And I snuck out to go return some T-shirts that I bought. And guess who I met?
Mickey Mouse.
No. I got to meet Josh tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Carrie, I was like flipping out. So we're right now sitting in the ballroom waiting for the after lunch event to start. But I can't contain my excitement. I have a picture of me and him.
I know, and you were so excited you bought us all lunch. It's been the best day ever.
I did. We ate at the food trucks. What a great thing. They had all those food trucks out there waiting for us. So it was fantastic. Crazy.
Anyways, we'll catch up on the whole day later.
Yes.
So we had to do that little...
Oh, we have to record later. Yeah, for sure.
But we had to let you know about Fran's best day ever.
Best day ever. Now, if Harrison Ford comes out, we're in trouble.
It'll be your last day. Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
Day 2.
Day 2. Carrie and I are actually standing in the lobby of Disney's Contemporary Resort waiting for our breakfast reservation to be called.
And we're watching the man replace the beautiful flowers in the lobby, and I just thought that those flowers just magically appeared.
I know. We never really considered how they get here, right? But there's a guy with a cart, and he comes out with flowers and new vases and...
he's watering them and fixing them up, and they're beautiful flowers.
Yeah,
I don't know why we never even considered that that's how they get there, right?
Well, I think we knew somehow that they get there, but we never really thought about it.
We never really considered it.
Anyways, that's where we are right now.
Yes. So we're waiting for our breakfast reservation, and I'm sure you can all guess where that reservation is for.
Yeah.
We're now debating which breakfast we're going to have, because I think we've exhausted the menu at Steakhouse 71. But so yesterday we didn't get a chance. It was a really long day yesterday.
Oy, oy, oy.
Oy, oy, oy. We didn't get back to the resort till after 10, and we had been here at like 7:30 in the morning. So it was a long, long day. But we did want to give you guys some info on what the day was like actually being here, because I'm sure they've seen, Carrie, I'm sure they've seen all the announcements and things that happened online.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about what it was like to actually be here.
Yeah. I'm still watching the flower guy. Sorry. Yeah, being here.
Carrie's distracted.
So,
Carrie's distracted. Focus.
So,
it's interesting to get inside. So there's like a couple, like how many people would you say were here?
2,000. They kept saying. They kept saying there's 2,000 people. So it's one big, ginormous conference room with enough seats for 2,000 plus a few more for people to spread out a little bit.
Right.
And there's, I don't know, like 9 big screens in the...
Yeah. And then there's the stage. And depending on where you're sitting, like they have the media people, and like there was preferred seating that you could pay like an extra $200.
The famous peoples.
The famous peoples can afford to pay for the $200. So they all sit up front, and then we are behind. And so then... we funnel into this room. It's cool. Like it's not too hot.
Oh, you mean it's like not cool, like as in it's a cool room? It's just
no. I meant like the temperature-wise, because our breakfast is ready. Carrie,
well, we could probably
so we're gonna come back on when we get into the room. Maybe we're gonna update you on what yesterday was like, and then what's on the agenda for today.
That sounds good.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go eat at our famous Steakhouse 71. If you guys haven't tried it, you should, because we've eaten here how many times now?
Too many.
Yeah. Well, Carrie, it's the end of our trip. We were supposed to record about 17 snippets.
We recorded 2 or 3.
And the last one, I'm not even sure if it's any good. I'm going to have to decide once I listen to it whether or not we put it in. This was the one where we were watching the man do the flowers.
Yeah.
And he was changing out the flowers at the Contemporary Resort. And then our breakfast reservation, they were ready for us, and we kind of abruptly cut it short. So if I end up leaving it in, I hope it was okay. And if I don't, you didn't miss much.
That's awesome.
So we're checking out how this is to do on the fly. And so far, we think we kind of failed at doing it
on the fly.
On the fly consistently. But
anyways, whatever.
We're in our room now. We're actually leaving for the airport in like an hour, and we thought we would sit down and go through the rest of the itinerary, what it was like being, like everybody hears the announcements, right?
Yep.
So they're all over social media. We don't have to cover the announcements. But what's it like being at a D23 event?
It's fun.
It's fun.
I think what makes it a lot of fun is being there with your friends, for sure. And it's fun because it's like like you said, they give the news, but it was live streamed this year, right?
Yes.
Plus like all the outlets just posted immediately as soon as they announce it anyways. But they do have sessions where like we do get little tidbits of things that we might, little stories from Imagineers or stories from authors and past executives.
Yes. And that is always my favorite part. So this Destination D, they really look back at the 50 years of Walt Disney World. So like all of my nostalgia feels were like over the top. Mm-hmm. And it was like such a great, they did a whole thing on If You Had Wings. So yay. If you don't know about that ride, you should go back and check it out.
I got to hear you sing it the whole weekend. But they went through the different decades, and they showed us like old merch and old marketing, and told stories and laughed about how tacky or weird and wonky certain things were from the past when we look at them now.
Oh, yeah. Some of those, the Bermuda short costumes.
Yeah.
Oh, those were hideous.
But I think, too, like, we talk, like, for us, because we're super fans, that we like to hear, like, we like that type of stuff. Like, we usually know a lot of the stuff that they tell us, or we expect it, the tidbits of things. Like, we know what the wish is supposed to look like, and what are some other examples? Like, just stuff that's coming down.
Yeah, like Disney streaming, like all the stuff that's coming out. Like that kind of stuff it's all a bit like it's not new news. Mm-hmm. But being there and being through some of the programs. So, for example, like they did, they did each of the decades. So they focused on the 70s and then another segment on the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. And it was pretty cool to walk through those decades. And they had cast members. So they actually had a whole panel of cast members who were here on opening day. Working. Most of them were working at the Contemporary Resort in 1971. Mm-hmm. And to hear their stories, like those are the things that are so great about being at a Destination D event.
Sure. For sure. And I'm sure like it opened up the eyes to a lot of people that may not have been here back in those 50 years.
Yeah.
Like to me, I joked with you guys that like the good old days, like some of the stuff they showed us, like, wow, like was it really the good old days? Like the circus they used to have at Epcot? Oh my goodness, that looked horrifying.
Oh, and the Barbie?
Oh, and the Barbie show was oy. Yeah,
like I don't know for our listeners. I don't know how like they span new fans, old fans. Like if you remember the Barbie empire at Epcot, it was kind of weird. If you don't remember it or you don't know about it, you should go on to Google and YouTube it and see
scary.
See it. It's scary.
So, and then the big things for the weekend were probably the Saturday evening entertainment, right? Would you say? So they had the magical music of Encanto.
Right.
So they had the people that wrote the music.
Yeah.
And they kind of walked us through all of the different songs and told us little tidbits about them, how they were inspired, what type of music they were, why that type of music was chosen. And then they played us snippets from the movie.
Yeah. And they had like video of Lin-Manuel.
Yeah.
And like they had the stars come in on video and tell us things about what it meant to them and how they came up with some of the songs and some of the emotions behind it. That was pretty cool. So we got to preview. We said that on one of our other ones. Yeah. The Encanto movie.
And they had the actress that played Luisa.
Yeah.
So that was very cool.
That was very cool. So she was just a firecracker. She was there live and she was a firecracker and so much fun. And then they had a couple of the executives come out too, like some of the legends. My favorite, I think by far, was Dick Nunes.
That was the best.
He was telling stories about walking Disneyland with Walt. And this man is totally unfiltered. And he had so many great stories about how Walt Disney World came to be. He talked about how they decided to continue on Walt's legacy after Walt passed and how he opened the park the day Walt died. And all the cast members were angry with him, but he said Walt would have wanted the show to go on. Mm-hmm. And Lily, Walt's wife, agreed with him. So he made sure that they continued on, and he had a big hand in Walt Disney World. Yeah. And he told the story, and I've heard this story before. I heard it when I did an educational program with Disney Institute, was that the night before opening, they were they were doing all the finishing touches. It was like the 11th hour. It was actually, according to Dick Nunes, 3:00 in the morning, when he was over at the Contemporary Resort, and he realized that it was all dirt. There was no grass anywhere. And he put out a call on the radio to everyone that any cast members that were up that could help come. You need to come to the Contemporary. And he got the sod, and they were all like, Dick, we don't know how to do this. Like, how do you do this? And his answer was, it's pretty easy, green side up. And they had grass opening morning.
That's very cool.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was great.
And there's lots of information from the Disney archives. Like, that's a big part of this.
Oh, yes.
A big part of this weekend. So they're kind of intertwined between, like, almost everything, right? Like, they're pulling all the old pictures, all of the old artifacts, all the merchandise they're showing us, all that stuff comes from the archive. But lots of archive staff telling stories and explaining things throughout the weekend, too. So
yeah, it is. So it's exciting. It's fun. It's great to be there. It is tiring. Like, these are long days. So Saturday we were there for breakfast at 7:30 at our place, Steakhouse 71. I think this is just going to be our place.
The waiters know us by name.
The waiter's like, "Oh, it's you again."
So bad.
But yeah, so we were there at 7:30 for breakfast. The day started at 9, and it finished at probably 9 p.m. So we never recorded that. We actually got to preview a couple of...
well, we only watched one. What's his name? Hawkeye?
Hawkeye. It's some Disney Plus superhero
Avenger
dude.
So there was 2 episodes, but we only watched one because by the time the one was done, it was almost 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and we were tired. And truth be told, like, we didn't know what we were watching.
No.
Like,
it was entertaining.
Yeah, but you predicted, anyway, we're not going to spoil the episode, but the first, we were like...
Our friends that knew what was going on, they really liked it.
Oh, they really liked it. They were all excited. But yeah, so that was a fun thing. And that's one of the ones where you have to put away your phone. They take your phone again. They did the same for Encanto, the musical parts. We had to seal up our phones in bags so that we could not record, take pictures, do anything like that. Sunday was another long day.
Yep, early breakfast and there till 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It was 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock?
It was 10 o'clock when we left.
Oy, oy, oy.
Yeah. So it started the day with, like, they talked about all the things that are going to be streaming on Disney Plus. And then they did the Disney Wish. And this is when you and I kind of snuck out.
Yeah.
And we went to go look at some of the artifacts in the other rooms.
Yeah, because we're missing the most important part of all, the highlight of the weekend. There's 2 highlights of the weekend.
Well, there were 2 big highlights of the weekend, but when we snuck out, we went to go look at some of the archive stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that was because...
that was because it followed...
Yeah, follow Disney Plus.
So what were they talking about?
They had Kermit who came on the stage.
Kermit the Frog came on stage.
So that's pretty much the highlight of the entire event. Is that Kermit came on, and he was on quite a while.
He was on for a long time.
And it was really neat because you could see Matt Vogel underneath, so people could really see how
it works.
How the puppeteering works. So that was pretty cool.
But it's funny, did you not notice, after the first probably 5 minutes, I didn't even notice he was there. And then I noticed, I'm like, oh my God, there he is. And then I forgot he was there. I was still looking at Kermit and Kermit's mouth.
I thought I was watching both, but I thought it was cool because it was really them there. That's, I don't know.
It was neat. I'm glad they didn't cover him up. You could see him. He was kind of lying on the ground. He was almost he must have been leaning against something. But he was kind of lying on the ground underneath their chairs.
Yep. It's very cool.
It was really cool to see, and I'm so glad they let us see that little piece of it.
Yeah, and the crowd went wild because it's the Muppets.
Well,
I'm sure if you asked a lot of people, it was a highlight. The Muppets are so hot right now.
Well, they had a whole corner in Mickey's of Glendale for them.
Yeah.
Which was pretty awesome. We bought a lot of stuff.
We bought a lot of stuff. So
yeah. So we listened to Kermit the Frog, and then they were going to do onboard the Disney Wish. So we were like, yeah, been there, done that. We've seen
the artist rendering.
Seen the article. Yeah, we're good. So you and I snuck out to go see some of the artifacts in the other rooms, and we walked down to go look at some of the. What were it? It was the H2O. They had the H2O products, the sponsors.
H2O, the Ray-Ban.
Yeah.
Those people were down there.
Yeah. And then we were just standing there, and all of a sudden Carrie's like, oh, hello.
I know, because it was Matt Vogel walked by with his family, so I said hello.
You didn't say nothing. You didn't tell me who it was. I don't know these people.
It's not my problem.
It's not like it's Harrison Ford. So all I hear is Carrie go, oh, hello. And he said, hello.
And then I just let him. I just didn't want to interrupt
And he
him.
walked by, and I'm like, "Who's Carrie talking to?" And then
I had to school all y'all.
2 minutes later, the girls behind the counter or whatever at the Ray-Ban thing were like, "Who?" And you're like, "That's Kermit the Frog."
And they're like, "Oh my God, the guy from Muppets Haunted Mansion!" Anyways, it was very cool that I got to say hello.
I know.
Well, he had his whole family. He's young children, so I didn't want to interrupt him.
Didn't want to
if he was
interrupt.
by himself, I might have asked to talk to him a little bit more, but I was just excited to recognize him and say hello to him.
And he said hello to you.
And I figured he would be around there somewhere, because that's the thing. We were seeing, like, after the sessions, they do, like, they have press sessions, right? Like, in the breaks and whatever. So I assume that he might be, like, walking around or leaving or whatever. So maybe we could say hi to him.
Why not? It was cool. It was pretty cool.
So we said hi. We had our friends say hi to Michael Varga, the D23 bigwig, the big guy. We had one of our friends get to meet Mickey Mouse, Brett Iwan.
Yeah.
And got a picture of Brett Iwan.
That was pretty cool.
We ran out to try to get pictures with him too, and we missed him. He was heading over to the Magic Kingdom from what the gals that were...
We moved pretty quickly for like 10 o'clock at night after that long day. The two of us bolted pretty quickly, but we missed him.
So amongst us, we got to get some fun pics and say hello to some people.
Yeah, we did. It was, that was kind of fun getting to see, even just from afar. Like we saw, what was her name? Ashley... it's the girl that does Ahsoka Tana's voice.
Oh, yeah.
She was
Her universe.
Her universe. She came into the archives room after us because we went in to take pictures. They had the original Dreamfinders ship thingy from Journey into Imagination way back when. And so you could go in and see it, which was really cool.
And they had all kinds of merch over the years. That was the exhibit for...
Oh my gosh, the exhibit was so fun because even like going through it, and our friend Carol did the same. Like we were going through like, oh my God, I had those salt and pepper shakers. Oh my gosh, I had this. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was like a walk down memory lane and all the things I think of that we threw out. Crazy.
Maybe some of them are somewhere.
They might be. I might have to go and, scroll through my crawl space and see what's in there.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. That would be a fun adventure night. And then, so yesterday there was tons of stuff. They did Magical Melodies. They had a couple of guys on that did so many of the songs. Like they did a walk down memory lane with the songs.
Of the parks.
Yeah. And that was just a blast. Mm-hmm. And they did say that they know how much Disney fans love the parks music. And they're trying to figure out how to get more of it to us. Because back in the old days, that you could pick up a CD or a record in the parks. Like you could go and pick those up. And they even sold little movies, like 8mm movies of the attractions back then.
That would be cool.
I have a couple. I have the Pirates, I think, and Haunted Mansion. And they're like it's a full walkthrough of the ride.
Wow.
And you could buy it in the park. And then then they had like little, they had records. And you could buy the songs of the park. So, and then of course CDs and,
Now it's streaming.
So now they're trying to figure out how to get more of that stuff to us.
Because they kept telling us all the music of Encanto and whatever is all available to stream now.
Yeah.
So.
What else was a highlight? So should we talk about the finale? Like we got a break. We got lunch breaks, there were 2 hours at lunch. And then last night we got 2.5 hour dinner break. And then we came back for the ugly sweater Christmas party.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool.
It was.
Everybody is a little bit of people watching because people came with some pretty funny sweaters on and outfits.
Oh my gosh. Did you see the guy with the Country Bear Jamboree sweater?
Yes.
So he basically had the 3 heads from the wall.
Melvin and...
sticking out of his sweater with lights on them.
They lit up.
They
were very cool.
And then did you see his wife? I can't remember what hers was, but she had something similar. And it was, they were awesome. They were awesome.
So yeah, good people watching and just different outfits and everybody with their like vintage like Christmas shirts on, t-shirts, sweaters, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when we they cleared the conference room of most of the chairs, put out round tables. and had some exhibits. And when you walked in, it was snowing, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
So,
and they had hot chocolate and cookies and
lots
stuff
of photo
like that.
ops and a DJ, because of course you got to have a dance party.
Yeah, so there was some dancing. There is a video of us trying to dance that somebody took and said, I now have some blackmail material.
Yeah, that's one of our friends.
Yeah. So that was fun. And yeah, like it was a dance party, and they had Brett Iwan come out and draw some Mickey Mouse on stage. And it was funny because he was doing the drawing and then he was doing some of the instruction in Mickey's voice, which was kind of fun to watch. But yeah, and then before you knew it, it was 10 o'clock and we were done.
Yeah, we had to get home.
Yeah, we were done. But it was a fun event. Like, I think if you're super fans, this is for you. I think if you're just a Disney fan, like you're a fan, but not like a super fan where you would dedicate, 2.5 days of your life to sit in a conference room and listen to spiels, then it might not be for you, because it wasn't cheap either. No. Right? Like, I think we talked on I don't even want to remember what we paid for the tickets.
I remember how much we paid. It was $250 per person.
Yeah. So you kind of have to be a pretty big super fan to
like, because you've dedicated, right? You have to come and stay, and
because then you need your hotel and everything else. So, and
it's a busy time of year here because of Thanksgiving, and
right.
So it's not ideal for
not at all
getting a lot of stuff done in the parks. So we really just came in, like, I didn't go into a park. I just came for the event, and I'm out of here.
Exactly.
So
exactly. And so we did get to and we got to record a podcast on location.
Would you come again?
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
would.
That's one thing I think when you're done, you like, would you come back? And
yeah, you know what? For me, even just for some of those little, like those little snippets, some of those little stories, even being in proximity to people like Dick Nunes and Josh Tomorrow, and like it's fun. And getting to see all sorts of people. And, they have like media, they have people who were invited to come. So from, influencers and podcasters and all sorts of stuff. We did not get an invite. Just saying. But we had, like, it was fun to see. So we got to see some of the people we follow and that we've made friends with.
Yeah. And for me, I think it was the first time I've seen, like, the Disney community that I know, like the pin trading community.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the pin traders that I see every single year at the pin event, or in New Jersey at the pin event there, or in Dayton, Disneyland, like all those faces that I've seen for like a decade, like I saw them all again. So like, and I may not be friends with them all. You may just kind of pay, nod at them, or some of them you do know from chatting with them. But it was just nice to see that community come together, because they are kind of all, if they're that deep into pins, they're that deep into Disney, so they go to this thing too. So it felt back to normal.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't go on a park, didn't go on a ride here,
you didn't have to.
It felt back to normal, like, that was the way that it used to be.
Yeah.
So.
And we did our Beeper MD. I think we recorded saying that was coming. That came. We got our results back. So being Canadian, we have to do that to get home. So of course we're all negative, and it's been a good trip. Mm-hmm. It's been a very good trip. I think we should do it again.
Lots of fun.
Like, we should just plan another trip. Don't you think?
Yeah, we always do. Don't be so silly. We always have a few of them on the go.
Yeah, we always have ideas of dates and times and things like that. I'm less inclined to click book. I like to be a little more spur of the moment. Mm-hmm. That's just who I am.
But having an event like this is kind of,
then it forces you to
get something going. But.
Yeah. Okay, Carrie, I have no idea what this podcast is going to sound like when I start stringing this stuff together.
Good luck.
The editing could be a nightmare, but we'll see. And we're going to see how the iPhone recording holds up against the great mics and the studios that we've bought. But we didn't even...
Can you imagine? We'll just meet somewhere.
We'll just
turn the phone on.
Shop to record into the iPhone. But I hope that people, feel like they enjoyed it, us recording on... They'll have to tell us, because then next trip we'll know whether we should just record while we're here or skip it.
Yeah, and part of the reason, like, it was hard. It's very noisy where we were, like, so it's hard to find a quiet place. And when we thought we had a quiet place, then our reservation came due, or we got sidetracked. We met, so we find someone to talk to, and we start chitter chattering, and then we don't record anything. So that gets in the way a little bit.
Right.
So, anyways, do we have to have pixie dust?
Don't you have pixie dust? Well, you know what? I have pixie dust for them for both of us. How's that?
Well, I'm sure I do, but I just never thought of it till just right now.
You met Kermit the Frog. Like, how much bigger pixie dust do you need?
Well, I wasn't sure if we could have, like, just a big pixie dust, like, going to Destination D23. But yes, okay, never mind. Go on.
You met Kermit.
I met Kermit. Well, I didn't really meet him. It's not like we, like,
Well, you didn't sit down and have coffee.
We didn't
because,
have a conversation
you had his
with
family
him.
with him.
But, okay, you go. What were you going to say?
So, before you arrived, the day before you arrived, I actually met 2 of our podcast listeners in the Magic Kingdom.
Right?
Yes. So I texted you right away. It was so fantastic. So I was going into It's a Small World, and a lovely lady and her husband came up and said they listen to us every week. And he listens too. So they apparently they listen in the car. And she came up and she said, we do a great job. And they just...
Shucks.
It was so fantastic. I was so excited to meet them. And I texted you right away. And I was like, oh my gosh, Carrie, this is so... Because it means so much to us when we hear people that are listening to us. And, that was the day. So, Carrie, I had to do a conference call for the Unmagical job. Oh my gosh. I get in the line for It's a Small World. I think I have plenty of time. And trust me, the Unmagical conference call I was about to have was not going to be a nice one. Like, I could not be, peppy Disney Franny. I needed to be like corporate, taskmaster Franny. And 5 to 11, I'm still on It's a Small World. And all I keep thinking is, I'm going to have to call this project team and try to nicely ream them out while It's a Small World is playing in the background. This is not going to go well. Anyway, I got off the attraction.
Thank heavens.
Like, literally 10:59. I ran around the corner to like where the Tangled bathrooms are, and I huddled in a corner there to have the call. It was hysterical. Anyway, so after that, we go to Pooh because we were using Genie. We had Winnie the Pooh, and we were in the store, and a lady came up to me in the store.
Oh,
and
I didn't
said,
know that.
Yeah, it was like right after. So, yeah, so we have...
You're such a celebrity.
Oh, whatever. They were like, where's Carrie? I'm like, Carrie's coming tomorrow. So, yeah, so that was really great. We really love that. We love to hear the feedback.
For sure.
And thank you all for listening because it really makes it nice for us when we get to hear, that you enjoy it and you don't just think we're a bunch of... I don't even know what to say.
It does bring us the ultimate pixie dust here.
It does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thank you. So absolutely, send us your feedback, send us your information, and we'd love to hear more from you. Definitely, if you can, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts because that really helps. And if you're listening to us on Facebook, our friend Lou Mangello told us.
Well, we were rubbing elbows with Lou this weekend.
We were talking to him this weekend, and it's funny because in Canada, we can't see the podcast player on Facebook. We just know it's there. It's only available for people in the U.S. on their mobile devices. So there is a subscribe button there because you won't necessarily get every episode unless you subscribe on Facebook. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button and you'll get to hear from us every week, whether you like it or not. You can choose to fast forward.
We're here.
Oh, well, it's been fun, Carrie.
Yes, lots and lots.
Now we got a plane to catch.
Yep, we gotta go. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast player so you'll get a new episode every week. And find us on social media too. We'd love to hear from you.
Till next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.